Hey, Harry. First, wishing you nothing but happiness in your new life. As a father, thank you very much. I appreciate it. 6 months ago, I gave up my near-decade career to dedicate myself to hip-hop and freestyle. I've fallen in love with the art and have no backup plan. Epic. Getting here meant brutally tearing down a lot of insecurity since I started freestyling about 2 years ago. Were you also surprised by certain fears or insecurities that only surfaced once you decided to pursue freestyle as a career? If so, which one sticks out to you the most? Much love, Y, formerly known as BK Next. Oh, okay. Shout out to BK Next, who is a dope human being and dope freestyler who some of you may know. I know he's been on Happy Hour, so if you're part of the Patreon community, you would have seen that. And also has a viral video clip with Ari at home, killing it with a freestyle out on the street. Came to my show in Brooklyn and is somebody who I've had the joy of talking with multiple times virtually on Zoom and talking about his journey as a freestyler. So shout out to BK Next, who now goes by Y. I haven't heard a freestyle from him in quite a while, so I'm excited to check this out. Let's get it. And I will answer the question after the freestyle. I think that will just flow a little smoother. Here we go.
I'm the one who really wants the power. Want my lyrics to rain like the shower. Yeah, you know that I've never lying, but this kinda looks like a dandelion. Is it a water fountain? I can't really tell. Man, if I saw this, it would be a story to tell. When it comes to rhymes, never gonna blunder. I don't need to roll the dice to know my number. A milli, a billy. Yes, it might sound a little silly, but really, I'm just killing with the ill freeze. No one gonna spill freeze better than me. You know that I kill MCs, doing surgery. Their jaw dropped the second they heard of me. Right there was a little bit of a ramble, but I was rolling the dice, it was a gamble. Rappers better get off my lawn, they all got me bored, so I hit them with the yawn. That shit made me queasy. The cat's like, feed me, it needs some food, needs some nutrients. So I'm just here spewing phlegm. That should be nutritious enough for your health. I hope that I just made the microphone melt. Hope you enjoyed my fucking freestyle. Someone better than us, you know that it's gonna be wow.
Hey.
Yeah. That's what I got. Love.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Y. That was dope. That was dope. Super cool to hear you again, my friend. Been a minute. Sounding great. I really enjoyed it. It was cool too because some of the stuff we were talking about before with the setup punchline versus the free flow, you kind of demonstrated a really good balance of both techniques throughout the freestyle. There was one point early on when you were like, something. I can't remember the exact setup, but there's no denying, yo, that kind of looks like a dandelion. That was clearly a setup punchline. Like you had dandelion and then you came up with a rhyme for it. But then right after that, you went free flow where you reversed it because you were like, is that a fountain? I can't really tell. So you're just like continuing the thought about it being a dandelion without doing any kind of setup punchline. Just what is that a fountain? I can't really tell. Yo, if I saw it, I'd have a story to tell. And then on to the next. So we immediately see like a couplet of setup punchline followed by a couplet of free flow. And we immediately just see how it's not one or the other. These techniques influence each other and they get woven in and out of each other in real time. And that's what makes the freestyle less predictable, and that's what makes it still have that natural organic feeling to it from the free flow, balanced with this more structured, organized, precise version of it with the setup punchline, and you want to have both. So I really enjoyed that. And I will say too, just as a callback to what we were discussing earlier, you know, the free flow is the thing that comes naturally. And so that's why practicing setup punchline is so important in my mind, is because it won't come naturally. Like you're not just randomly going to start doing it at a high level. Like that is something that you practice to do well. So, and shout out to Y, who I know for a fact has put in a lot of practice on setup punchline and some of the other techniques. And it shows here in the video. And then there was another part too, where you were just kind of like going off on a free flow, bunch of different rhymes. No one's gonna spill freeze as ill as me. I'm killing MCs, you know, and so on and so forth. And then the dopest part of the freestyle to me was right after that, you were like, hey, yo, that was just a ramble, which to me, like it was just a ramble. It was a free flow kind of tangent. It was dope. But I thought you were still free flowing and just saying, yo, that was just a ramble. Little did I know you were actually doing a super coherent, super powerful setup punchline disguised as a free flow, because you were like, yo, that was just a ramble, but I had to roll the dice. I had to gamble, which with the dice on the screen. That was fire, bro. That was super fire. That was those are those moments where it's like you've worked so much at the technique that you start to just shade the edges in a way where, you know, I'm a experienced freestyler, I think, and I didn't see that one coming. So, you know, that's the power, man, of having that technique available to you. Is you'll find these moments where, like, oh wow, I can actually. The setup line follows seamlessly from what I was just doing and still leads me back around to, like, boom, I'm still talking about the subject. Like, I'm still right here. You know, you thought I was over here. I'm right back. So that was my favorite part. Yeah, dude, just really fire. I loved it.
I like the yawn.
Yeah,
Just
the yawn
like
was
the
great
act
too. Yeah, and then snapping right back into, let me see what you said right there, because that was cool.
Oh, I hit him with the yawn. Oh, that shit made me queasy. The cat's like, feed me.
That
it
part,
needs something.
it was like, that made me queasy. Yo, the cat's like, feed me. I really like that. Just like snapping into a different modality without warning to keep it interesting and varied.
And 2 takes on the photo. Like, so
Yeah.
for listeners, by the way, he has a random image generator going. There's the photo of the cat yawning there, and then he like transformed that like open mouth to like more just like feed me.
Yeah.
That's tight.
That's the whole thing, dude. Yeah, you're right. No, that thank you for pointing that out, because I didn't even pick up on that fully. But yeah, it's like, what else does this image mean? You know? And that's such a important kind of perspective to take as a freestyler, is like, what else does it mean? Whether it's an image, like, yeah, what else does this mean? It's the cat's yawning, we think, or the cat's hungry saying, feed me, right? What else does it mean? Oh, it means you're at the doctor and the doctor says, say, you know, or it means open, you know, it means so many things. And we do that with imagery, but we do it with words too. The word is bank. I'm thinking about like Chase Bank and making deposits, but what else does it mean? It means a bank shot, like we're playing basketball. It means the side of a river, the river bank, you know? So yeah, just always being in that mode of like, what else does it mean though? What else does it mean though? Like, does it mean anything else though? Is there another way you could look at it? That was on display as well. So nah, man, super dope. Why? Props to you. And let me actually just quickly go back here if I can figure out how. There we go. And answer your question. I mean, shout out to you, man, for taking that leap of faith, you know, leap and the net will appear. And I'm really curious to know how it's all working out for you and how it's going for you. You sound great. So hopefully it's going well. But your question was, you know, was I surprised by certain fears and insecurities that only surfaced once I decided to pursue freestyle as a career? And if so, which one sticks out the most? I think for me, you know, of course, there were all the insecurities of just being an artist and sharing my work with the world, but that wasn't even just confined to freestyling. I think that was just sort of my biggest insecurity as a creative person, was just bearing my soul to the world. You know, whether it was me as a drummer, you know, I never did my own album as a drummer. I never had my own group. I was never a band leader. I was always a sideman. You know, I was a support player. So I was just helping somebody else realize their vision. So I liked being in the background, you know, so that was kind of, the biggest overarching insecurity that still persists to this day is like, left to my own devices, I kind of just want to be in the background. I don't want to be out there in front of everybody saying, yo, check me out. And yet, you know, that's the trade-off. That's the cost of me being able to do what I love every day. So it's worth it. But it's not easy for me. But I would say, like, specifically with making freestyle a career, you know, I had insecurities around just this sort of old notion that if you freestyle, you're not really that serious, you know? Like, yo, freestyling is just something that you do, you know, when you're messing around with your friends, or just kind of like not really working on the craft in a serious way. Like, freestyle is just kind of like a tangential skill to the real skill, which is going in the studio and making records, you know? And if you're not doing that, then you're not really in the game. You're not really competing, and you're not really doing anything that's worthy of being taken seriously. There's definitely that notion definitely exists within hip hop, and also within art more broadly. You know, I would love to actually read more about this. I wonder if there's articles about this. And eventually I would love to speak to this and write about this. But the notion of like the improviser being the non-serious artist, you know, it is a thing, you know? It's like, if you don't compose, you know, there's this judgment kind of that can come into it where it's like, okay, cool, you're like a good improviser, but like, if you can't compose something great and revise and perfect and like share something like that, then like, you're not really an artist, or it's not really a real thing, you know? And it's like, man, but when I go out and do this in the world, like I'm witnessing the power of it in real time. Like I'm feeling it, you know, and it's like affecting other people positively. And like, they're telling me that it's affecting them positively. And I've felt it as an audience member countless times, way before I ever put my own video out, you know? I'm hearing Super Nat, I'm hearing Juice, I'm hearing Los, Idea, I'm hearing Freestyle Fellowship, not to mention all the jazz gigs that I'm attending and records that I'm listening to. And I'm like, what do you mean that the improvisational shit is not serious? Like in my heart, it's like the most serious, you know? And again, I love all of it. So it's not even a one or the other, it's both. But, improv has such a unique power, but, there is this tendency to sort of, I think, categorize things as humans. And sometimes it's like, well, if you were really great, you'd be able to just like work on an album for a year and drop something like that shifts culture. And I'm just like, well, yeah, I mean, that's valid and that can be incredibly powerful, but this improv thing can also be incredibly powerful in its own way. So that was hard, and that continues to sometimes mess me up. You know, it's like I don't even notice it, but it'll creep a little bit if I'm not careful. Or I'll start to be like, man, maybe what I'm doing is not like the real deal, you know? Like, I don't know, man. Like maybe this is just some, some bullshit negativity that just like emerges in my brain. And, I just think it's really important to remain unique and to do what makes you, you know? And I think like there's always going to be pressure to conform to the norm, you know? And when we conform to the norm, like, this is going to sound crazy, but it's when we die. Like, and I'll explain what I mean, is it's hard work to be alive. Like, your body temperature is usually much hotter than the air around you. You're not reaching equilibrium with your surrounding environment because you're alive. And your body's working really hard to generate this heat. And if you're trucking through the snow and it's -20, your body is working insanely hard to maintain 98.6. It's a fight. Cactuses in the desert are like fighting really hard to hold on to the moisture inside of them so that it doesn't just like leak out into the dry dirt around them, because that's what will happen when they die. And similarly, when I die, my body will become in perfect equilibrium with the environment. They'll be the same exact temperature. I'll be the same as everything around me. So it requires constant effort and vigilance to not just meld into the environment around you, it'd be a lot easier, So we have to fight to be different than the pre-established norm. And this idea that if you just be yourself, everything will be so much easier. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think being yourself is a constant fight, and it's really hard. And there are a lot of forces that are trying to make you say, or just be like everybody else, Maybe you should just be like everybody else. And in a lot of ways, that's easier.